All right, injuries today. Mo Hurst, calf still won't practice. Jimmy Ward, quad won't practice. Hasty, ankle won't practice. Sanu, knee won't practice. Tavon Wilson, foot won't practice. Trey Kirkpatrick, ankle won't practice. Elijah Mitchell, ribs limited. George Kittle, calf limited. Eric Armstead, neck limited. Emmanuel Mosley, neck limited. Josh Norman, rib limited. Go ahead.
What happened to Mosley's neck?
I'm not sure exactly. It hurts him. It's hurt him now from the game, but he should be all right. Got to be careful with him today.
The practice window on Dre Greenlaw, is that going to be open?
I don't think so. I'm probably going to have to push it off another week.
Is there optimism that Jimmy Ward could play this week?
Yes, I'm hoping to get some practice tomorrow. I just can't today. No, he's on short-term IR, so I didn't mention those guys.
How has the mood in the locker room right now? It's different than 2017 when you were going through a rough patch where you had so many losses, but there was that, kind of like an indescribable hunger to win. Do you feel like you still have that same sense of urgency and still the fun in the locker room, or is it more?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a big hunger to win. I think there's a huge sense of urgency. I think our guys have been through more than that group of guys, and they've had more success. So there's a different type of disappointment, a different type of frustration. But the hunger, the energy, that's all still there.
As far as tackling, it seemed like tackling was not an issue for most of the season. You guys were actually a good tackling team compared to the rest of the league. But then these last 2 weeks, it's been problematic. I mean, can you explain what that is, and do you spend extra time this week on that aspect of it?
I mean, we're not going to tackle in practice and take guys to the ground. We have our tackling drills and stuff, but as much as you can that simulate games, but they're definitely not games. Going back to the most recent games, I know what the problems were tackling, especially on two of them. They cracked on our safeties, and the back got out to the corner, and one corner missed, and the other one got ran over, which is something I tell the backs that if that happens, you guys should do that every time. But obviously they shouldn't. Our corner's got to step up and make those tackles, and I also believe our DNs can condense the hole a little bit to make it not as big for them. The other missed tackle was Aziz on that 3rd and 18, which they dropped back for a while. We were way deep. He's got to throw out. If you're going to miss, you got to throw out the outside and turn it to your pursuit. He didn't, and that's why they picked up 18.
When evaluating how Jimmy Garoppolo has played the last couple of weeks, he's thrown for over 300 yards in the games. Been pretty efficient. And at the same time, Trey has not played at all. Is there any correlation to that in terms of Jimmy feeling like he's in a groove? Is that something you take into account?
Not totally. I mean, I take into, when he's going to play in those packages and stuff like that, if that's what you mean. That's how I feel about it helping the offense at the time. Chicago game, I didn't really plan on doing much of that because he was just coming off an injury, and we had it in both, but didn't plan on doing it unless needed. And going into the Arizona game, I thought we would do some, but the way the game went, we just never got into a rhythm offensively. You guys could see that. I didn't feel like the time to mix him in and change more stuff up.
In 4 of your games, you either have not scored in the first half or haven't scored until the last minute of the second quarter. I'm sure there are different reasons for that. Can you identify the sort of common thread to those slow offensive starts?
Yeah, I mean, not moving the chains on 3rd down or having a turnover. I also know I haven't gone through all the games like that right now off the top of my head. I think we scored on the opening drive versus Indy, went right down. I think we did it on Detroit. I think we had a slow start versus Philly. I know Arizona and Green Bay took us to the end of the second quarter. Chicago, we went down. I think we missed a field goal on the opening drive. So it's, about 50-50. We want to do better at that, obviously. But there's not one easy answer for you. Each game's a little bit different.
When you watch the tape, how much different do the Rams look with Stafford and quarterback this year?
I mean, it's the same base. I mean, it's the same offense. They're a little more aggressive in the passing game, do a lot more drop back than they used to. Still the same run game and stuff like that, and still the same drop back pass game. Just I think the amount of what they do and what they major in is a little different.
We spent a lot of time asking about Jimmy blocking out the noise, but there's been a lot of noise
around you the last few weeks, and the head coach comes to the territory. But how do you handle that, and how are you able to block that out?
I mean, I've gotten, I don't think I was always good at it. I don't think everyone does. You get better at it with experience, and fortunately, unfortunately, I've had to get good at that throughout my career. So it's something that I'm pretty used to. I very focus on my job. I don't focus on that other stuff. It's something that when I'm home with my family, I'm just with my family, and when I'm here in this building, I do everything I can to try to prepare our guys to do better and get a win on Sunday, and that makes it a lot easier. I always got to be prepared to come in and answer your guys' questions and stuff like that, but that's about all the time I focus on that stuff.
Do you expect that Trey Lance will play more in the second half of the season?
It depends how our season goes. I think I've said the same answers with that since the beginning, so I don't know how many different ways I can say it.
What do you mean, though? Because, you do have packages for him every game.
Yeah, and that's
so
is that so you guys know that answer, right?
Right.
Every time he's up, there'll be packages for him, and he'll always be an option to play.
But your answer was, we'll see how the season goes.
Because I thought his question was, is he ever going to become the guy? And that's how I have to see how the season goes. When he's ready, when our team's ready. Obviously, if there's nothing to play for and stuff, you make that decision with a lot of guys, trying to prepare guys for the next year and stuff like that.
There was a report, I think, last week that said people inside the building had said Trey had regressed a little bit since the start of training camp. Is that true? He's gone up, he's gone down, just like every player in here. So when someone has a report that he had a really good first week of training camp, he did have a really good first week of training camp. He also had a good fourth week, a good third week. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but so there's probably some accuracy to that report, which I think would be accurate with every player on our team.
Am I right to assume you don't want to reveal who's going to be your starting right tackle?
No, I don't. I don't want to reveal it.
So you have, you guys both, John Lynch and yourself, have talked about how Aaron Banks has been coming on. This doesn't seem like it would be the time to have two different starters on the right side of your line. But how are you kind of approaching, what's your mindset as far as trying to figure out which pieces go in which spots for this upcoming game?
Well, we have one spot open. Because when we feel that Aaron Banks is ready to go and can be more consistent in the Brunskill, and that's the way to go, we'll do that. We obviously don't feel that way yet. On the right side, we lost our right tackle for the year, so we're going to try to figure out who's our best right tackle to replace him. Aaron Banks doesn't play tackle, so he's not in that conversation.
What about cornerback? Ambry Thomas was in uniform for this last game. Does that indicate that he's going in the right direction like Banks is?
Yeah, he's had a real good last few weeks, and I've been excited about him. He's been doing better each week, and he's earning the right to be out there more, earned the right to dress, and hopefully sooner than later earn the right to be out on the field on defense.
What areas that Banks has progressed in your mind?
Just being more consistent. He's been real good in the run blocking since he's been here. He's gotten more used to running, missing all of camp and stuff. It took him a while to get his weight down and to get into football shape, which that's come just with each week. But the pass protection is the main thing he's taken step forwards in, and that's what he needs to continue doing.
How's Trey progressing?
Trey's doing good too. Trey, like I said last week, Trey, I thought you guys saw when he got his opportunities with the injuries. When all those guys got hurt, I thought he did better in his second and third game than his first game. And then we've got our guys back. But losing Hasty, who we'll see if he won't be up this week, will give Sermon another opportunity to get back at it.
Banks does look a little more, I don't know what the right word is, streamlined than he did in the summer.
What'd you say? I can't hear you.
Thanks.
He looks more what?
Streamlined, like he's thin.
Oh, leaner?
Is that right?
Sexier?
Is he lighter than he was?
Yeah, he is. And he's a big guy, so it's not as much about, I want him to be big. I want him to be one of our heavier guys, but it's about being his right weight, and that usually comes with eating right, getting out to practice, doing it, 4 days a week, and then it usually happens naturally if he's disciplined away from our building. And I think it was harder in camp because he couldn't get out there. But now doing about a month of it, practicing, eating right and stuff, I think he's doing a lot better.
When you lose 5 or 6, everything comes into question. So there's been some talk about what leadership, and I think you guys have a lot of established guys who are kind of more quiet lead by example types. And so conversation is, well, you need someone to rattle some cages. Do you think you have enough guys, or a guy who has the stature and personality, maybe say this, is what's happening here, it can't be tolerated anymore?
Yeah, I believe so. But I think all those guys got to play better too. It's not just we don't have the right guy yelling at guys and saying this can't be tolerated. I mean, that sounds good and all for everyone, but those are just words. It's got to be with actions and not just wanting to do it, but performing at a high level. So when you have those guys that can hold people accountable, they also better be doing their job at a high level too. And I look less about who's going to get all these guys going to play their best. That's our job as coaches, as players, to try their best, to work their hardest, to get as healthy as they can for practice all the way up to Sunday and perform as good as you possibly can. And that's what you got to do as individuals, and you push everyone as a team. Your team pushes each other, and then your whole team rises together. I think it's very rare that you have one guy in that way. I get what you're saying, but that's usually not what answers it. Just a guy, it's a guy playing the right way, leading by example, doing it the right way, performing, and then we can all hold accountability and trying to get a certain standard for every single player.
You're saying your best players have to just
Your best players got to play like, I mean, I say this to our team a lot. Your A players got to play like A players every week. Everyone else, I used to hear when I was younger, you're not a good coach if you get any coach can get a C player to play like a B player, I believe. The really good coaches got to get A players to play like A players every week, and that's how you push guys.
Is that an issue?
Yeah, I think our A players can play more like A players. I think we've been missing some of them too, and I think we need to get them to, and that starts with me.
Is there a reason Trent Sherfield has fallen out of the rotation the last few weeks? He seemed to have such a strong offseason.
Yeah, and he had a strong to start. That's why he pushed Ayuk, and at that time he was, we were rotating it, but he was ahead of Ayuk coming out of camp. Ayuk closed that ground up each week, and Ayuk's ahead of him now.
With Sanu possibly out, is there would you envision Trent Sherfield getting a little more playing time in the future?
He can get more playing time. Juwan Jennings can get more playing time, and so can Travis.
If Jeff Wilson is back 100%, do you envision more of a, maybe not 50-50, but something closer to that as far as Elijah and Jeff with the workload?
Yeah, we expected to get that last week. The game didn't play out that way. But yeah, I expect Jeff to get some carries, and you never go into it saying it'll be 50-50. Elijah's our starter right now. He's earned that. You open the game up with them, but they both can do some things. And Jeff also can help on third down, which he's always done in the past, which helps with AC possibly not being out there. But we also know Jeff can run the ball well too.
With the Norman situation last week, when you said coaches, it wasn't your decision to keep him out of the game. Is that a D'Amico Ryan's decision or a Corey Emlin decision?
Yeah, anytime that you're on the other side of the ball, just like me, when I've had a defensive head coach talking to me and there's been an issue, and if they don't see it all, they click over, and you got to have someone you talk to and rely on. And I always go to the defensive coordinator. He's the head coach of the defense. It's always my decision, but I'm not going to sit here and just react and make these decisions when I don't know exactly what happened. So I always go to the defensive coordinator and to see if he saw it, and then we go to the position coaches.
How much of a wild card is Von Miller, and he's never played with the Rams before?
I mean, it's a wild card in terms of he's a real good player. You don't know exactly where they're going to use him, but it's not a wild card in knowing what Von is. He's very good. But they got a lot of other guys over there to worry about too.
Fred's responsibility kind of going up and down. It seems like when his responsibility on the field has gone down, he's played better with his responsibility.
You say Fred?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you assess how he's been playing this season and in conjunction with his responsibility level on the field?
Everyone knows we gave Fred a new contract, and he's earned every single bit of it. I think Fred can play at a higher level. I think he agrees with that also. Everyone on our defense can, and everyone on our offense can. Everyone sees our record, what it is. We need coaches, players, everybody to play to the best of their ability. And Fred's one of our best players and one of our leaders, and I know no one's working on it more than him. It's not more important to anyone than him. And Fred will play better, and that helps the 10 guys around him. And when the 10 guys around him play better, Fred will play a lot better also. So it all goes hand in hand.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.